We'll ask Coach Izzo to make an opening statement and then go to questions, Coach.
You guys got to close the food line down and get everybody in here, it was a grind of a game. I say every time I play Wisconsin, it hasn't changed. It's part of the culture they have that started with Dick and Bo. And Greg has done an unbelievable job, too. And I thought the difference in the game early, we made all our shots, and they missed some wide open shots. I mean, they ran some good stuff, missed some good shots, and then once we got going, I thought we played pretty well. The turnovers that still haunt us. We had some very unforced turnovers. I thought we got something out of Henry rebounding the ball. That was big. He gets 11 boards. The rebounding in general was big for us, out-rebounding him like that. The assist to baskets was really big for us. Whenever you get 18 assists on 23 baskets, that means your guys are moving the ball, and that's the kind of team I have. Cassius, I guess, hurt another ankle or a different one, and that's why he was kind of hobbling around before halftime. And you know what? I just asked him if he could grit it out the second half, and you know what? The kid gritted it out, so I'm pleased with him. I thought we missed some shots in the second half. McQuaid, I didn't realize it, but they said Tillman's afraid of heights, so every time he gets up there, he's missing some of those dunks. So hopefully we'll work on that this week. But all in all, a gritty performance by us. I thought a gritty performance by them. They never quit. They came back. And we're going to have to somehow get ready to get back up tomorrow.
Questions, please. Raise your hand down here in front.
Tom, as long as this team continues to play, do they remind you of some of your old school Michigan State teams with just that grit? Maybe not pretty, but gritty.
We've been pretty. Not as gritty. We're gritty, but we're not like smash mouth tough like some of those old teams. But they're doing it a different way, and yet I thought the way we started out, we were upset with the way we started yesterday, as everybody knows, and we had the first 10 minutes were great, and then we kind of died, and then halftime, we played better after halftime. So one of these days, we're going to put the whole thing together, and when we do, we'll take another step. But I think the biggest thing I've got to do tomorrow and next week is got to come up with some better substitution pattern. Every time I do, Arnie just couldn't go back in, so that screws that up. And during the week, we work with him and not Gabe as much, and so the way, and then Nick got in so much foul trouble, we could not keep a steady rotation there. But I think besides the assists, the job Cassius did, when Nick Ward had made those 3 or 4 plays in a row that kept the ball with us, probably most people wouldn't look at that as anything. That was about 2 minutes worth of game-winning situations for us. And I'm pleased where Nick is coming. I really was hoping to play him 16, 18 minutes today, but he'll get his chance. He got another game to play.
Let's go right down here in front.
Coach, can you assess the Wisconsin rivalry? I don't want to say any lusters came off since Bo retired, because I know you got mad respect for Coach Gard. But how is this rivalry different now with you guys when it was at the peak of it in the mid-2000s?
I had great respect, for Dick Bennett. I worked his camp when I was in college, when he was at Stevens Point. It was a war with Bo for a few years, but then we got on the board together, and by the end, we were pulling for each other, and I really mean that, and still talk to him once in a while. There's not always love sometimes, but if there's respect, that's probably more valuable. With those guys, it's both love and respect, because we've played in a lot of big games together. And for Greg, I came up the same way. And so I talked to him a lot those first couple months and even first year. And I think he's done an incredible job under some tough. How would you like to replace Bo? They had just gone to 2 Final Fours, and this team has got some youth to it, and they've got some veterans, but I thought he did a hell of a job with them, and he's done a hell of a job. So the respect factor hasn't changed. And, I mean, Wisconsin, you know, when you grow up in Iron Mountain, I think we're 1 mile from the border. So I'm kind of a Uper Wisconsinite more than I am a Uper downstater, you know, here. So I know none of you know what the hell that means, but Iron Mountain's in the finals right now as we speak. That's all that matters to me.
Here on the right.
Tom, how important is what Kenny Goins can do to what you guys do with his ability to shoot, rebound, and even made a pretty big pass for a dunk today at a key point?
Well, Kenny's probably been the guy that's changed our team throughout the last 2.5 months, you know. He is one of our best defenders. He is our best rebounder. He is maybe our best condition guy, and he has really figured out how to shoot the ball and does it with a high percentage. And Kenny deserves a lot more than I've probably given him, but I think Kenny's putting himself in a position where there's going to be some basketball for Kenny after college.
Down here in front.
Tom, at the Breslin Center last Sunday after the game, I don't know if you saw John Beeline's comments, but he talked about Michigan State, Michigan playing for a championship, what it meant to the state, and how excited he was about you in both programs. Obviously, don't know who's going to win the next game, but for those two schools, same state at such a high level, to be able to possibly play in again, how special is it for the state of Michigan?
Well, I think we both agree, you know. People used to laugh at me when I said, of course I hate my rival. I mean, who wants to hug and kiss, you know, the guy that took your girlfriend? You know, it doesn't make any sense, you know. But I have great respect for them, and I do agree with him. I think we're on the exact same page that if we can make this into a Duke Carolina, you know, and I'm not trying to say we've got there yet, because some of that is over a test of time, but whenever you're playing in games that matters in the state, that's big. Matters in the conference, that's big. But when it starts to matter nationally, then you got yourself something special. And when both teams, early on in my career, when we were ranked, I think, 250th or whatever, and they were good, and then middle, we were ranked in the top, and they weren't very good, it's hard to have a rivalry. So we got what the media wants, what the fans want, and believe it or not, what the coaches want, because it is important that big games matter, and big games that matter nationally are even bigger games.
Right here on the aisle.
When the game got close there in the second half, they went 7 minutes and 24 seconds without a point. How would you assess your defense, or were they just missing shots?
I thought we played better defense in the second half. I thought the first half they missed some good shots. But I bet you in general, Greg wasn't happy with how they shot it. And they've been a little bit up and down shooting, you know. Guys like Trice and Davidson, I mean, those guys can shoot it. And haven't shot it quite as well. I think the other thing that was a key is Reavers. We did a pretty good job on him. We were going to switch. We were going to do some things not to give him many open looks. So I think the second half, it was a little bit us. I thought the first half, it was a little bit them.
Back here on the left.
Tom, a little bit about the journey, because there's steps along the way every year, but what does this one mean tomorrow? There's another one coming up after that, obviously, but, you know, the Big Ten Championship and what you guys are playing for tomorrow.
Since I got there, I must watch more TV, and, you know, I make my guys watch the NFL when they're in the Super Bowl, the NBA. I make them watch hockey when they're, you know, because whenever you're playing for championships, the human interest stories, the things that go on are really good, you know, and you realize a lot of kids have sacrificed or done some things, or coaches or programs, and that's what's great, you know, about playing for a championship. I mean, it is, you know, people don't say, let's go finish second. You know, that's not the Newt Rockney locker room speech. It's let's try to win a championship. And when you're working in the summer, you always talk about championship effort, something that'll separate you from the rest. And, you know, no matter who we play, we have a chance to play for a championship, and it's going to be very, very important. And then find a way to get right back up, you know. I mean, concerning a little bit with our Group, yeah. I mean, we're wearing down a little bit, to be very blunt and honest with you. And yet, as I told him after, boy, if you learn how to play through things that a lot of people would kind of fold the table on, that's going to help you in life, because life is filled, as we all know, a lot bigger things than a damn game.
Much different do you have to control your practices, knowing that the condition of your team and physically where they are?
Well, we have a walk-through room at the hotel, and we've been walking through. Tonight, I'm just going to put like 10 beds in there, and I'm going to kind of move them around like chess and say, okay, you should be here. And it's hard. Now the advantage is if we play Minnesota, we haven't played them for a while. If we played Michigan, we played them. Things change, but they don't change drastically. My big thing is I had to get Ward more and more in there if I can keep him out of foul trouble, because I think he can help us. Plus, I want to get him ready for the big dance. So there won't be a lot of gym time tonight. I told my doctors and trainers that, coaches are going to work hard tonight, but not as hard as the doctors and trainers. So I'm bringing dinner in for them, because they're going to pull an all-nighter for us tonight.
Take one last one. Down here in front.
Coach, to follow up on that, with all you guys have been through, does pretty much adrenaline take over at this point, playing for what you guys are playing for tomorrow?
I think it does to a certain extent, but Cash was on adrenaline. He's been on adrenaline for a while, and at halftime, I really didn't know what was going to happen. So adrenaline kicked in, and it got him through parts of another half, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm just being honest with you. I think everybody hides one thing or hides the other, and it's by tomorrow we'll be ready to play, and whoever plays will play, and we're going to play as hard as we can play, and see where that puts us.
Coach, thanks very much.
Thank you.